There were so many deserving items we considered for kicking off our feature segment, from the impact of COVID-19 on high school athletics, to the ethics of collegiate scholarships, to the lack of female representation in the high school coaching ranks. And while we promise to cover those topics in future shows, we want to start with a term that has dominated the news since May: systemic racism. Admittedly, that's a very broad topic, and there are endless inroads in discussing it. Specifically, I want to talk about racial inequality, and we'll do so through the lens of sports. Shocking, I know. A sports show looking at a societal issue from a sports point of view, it's about as unique as the name John. And to be clear, that's not very unique, seeing as there's been 4.5 million Johns in the last 100 years of the United States. 4.5 million. Imagine Panama, the country Panama, a nation of 4.3 million people, where everyone's name is John. Or I suppose Jim, because John is just simply too long. But back to our topic. Racial inequality in sports is anything but new. Minority athletes have often been ahead of their time, persevering through discrimination to raise awareness for critical issues. And once again, the sports world did not disappoint.
Over the last few days in our home state of Wisconsin, we've seen the horrendous video of Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times by a police officer in Kenosha.
Incredibly, professional athletes from the WNBA, NBA, and MLB all effectively postponed their games. And while these professional athletes are actively aiming to provide a catalyst for change externally, minority athletes are still battling for racial equality internally. Looking specifically at the 4 major sports leagues, the parity, or the severe lack thereof, is grim. Take the NFL, a league where, according to a 2018 article in Quartz, which is a fairly non-biased economic news outlet, data from the Institute of Diversity and Ethics in Sports shows that 70% of NFL players in 2017 were black. And yet, at this moment, only 3 of the 30 head coaches are black. Now, yes, it is true. The NFL has the Rooney Rule, put in place to effectively force team owners and executives to interview minority coaches for vacancies. But interviews and actual consideration are 2 entirely different things. In a recent article by statistic website 538, the hiring level of minority coaches of all position types is plummeting, saying, quote, "It's a discouraging trend and a major decrease from the 25% level seen in 2017, which at the time was hailed as a sign of progress made by minority coaches in their decade-long struggle for recognition and influence on the sideline." Far too often, it seems like the Rooney Rule is the fast food sandwich that you're advertised, and the application of the rule is the microwave mystery meat that's supposedly chicken. At a high school level, the situation isn't any more ideal. The 2010 census data for Naperville shows that the population is 72% white, which means 28% of the city identifies as a minority. And yet, a quick scan of our high school coaching lists show far less than 28% minority representation. Now, the situation has slightly improved recently. Just this past year, Metea Valley hired 2 black head coaches to lead its boys and girls basketball programs. But now it's time we circle back to one of those 4.5 million Johns born in the U.S. over the last century, John Thompson. John Thompson died this past week at the age of 78. He was a Hall of Fame basketball coach, leading Georgetown University to an NCAA Division I championship in 1984, and in doing so became the first black head coach to raise that trophy. He was a legend, but for more reasons than just his prowess on the sideline. He changed lives. Don't take it from me, take it from Hall of Fame basketball player Allen Iverson.
I was recruited by every school in the country for football and basketball, and an incident happened in high school, and all that was taken away. No other teams, no other schools were recruiting me anymore. My mom went to Georgetown and begged him to give me a chance, and he did.
Those are some pretty powerful words, and they punctuate the importance for minority athletes to have powerful role models who have experienced what it's like to be a minority. Here it is. The point I'm trying to get at is this. John Thompson didn't just start at Georgetown. He spent 6 years as the head coach at St. Anthony High School in Washington, D.C. He launched himself from the opportunity that many of our local coaches have right now. He changed lives for the better because he was put in a position to, a position currently dominated by white male coaches. That's why it's vital that coaching opportunities, and quite frankly, all opportunities, are offered equally for the sake of the coaches and for the athletes who depend on them.